Hey, friends. Something struck me today as I was kind of coming out of the Thanksgiving Day festivities of yesterday. And all things considered, we had a pretty low key Thanksgiving. It was wonderful and it was perfect, but it wasn't like it was some giant throwdown with a bunch of drunk relatives or none of the none of the things that are going to go into my musical about a Thanksgiving Day dinner. None of them were on display yesterday. But what was on display and what tends to be on display on a holiday like this is a sense of celebration. I used to have a wonderful, I still do have a wonderful mentor, but it's been a few years since she said this to me. But she always says, celebration lifts us out of the ordinary. That's the purpose of celebration. It's to bring us out of what's ordinary. And in a weird way, it's not that I resist celebration. It's just that I'm so happy in routine that ordinary is not a dirty word to me. It's actually wonderful. I feel like I'm a routine that is running smoothly and where I sort of have a sense of getting everything done that I want to get done and moving through the various practices and projects of life. That feels like a celebration to me. And at the same time, I want to acknowledge that there's a level of celebration. There's a kind of letting go, right? Celebration means a letting go of the ordinary in a way. And that's something where I think there is a little bit of resistance in me to letting go of the ordinary and letting something be exceptional, letting something be unique or standing alone. And I don't think I'm fully to the bottom of where that comes from in me. The resistance I'm talking about now. I don't know where that originates, but I think it's interesting to reflect on. Certainly for me to reflect on it. It'd be nice to understand if that's indeed true, that I do have resistance in that way. Then where does that come from? Because on some level, it's like something that takes us out of the ordinary also requires that we let down our guard a little bit. It requires that we free ourselves a little bit. And that's a big deal. That's its own kind of skill. It's almost like facing death in a way. To let go of the known is a little bit, it's like a mini death to the things that we're accustomed to. Or at least it's acknowledging that those things are just the things we're accustomed to. They're not real. They're not any more real than the freedom and the kind of once in a lifetime momentness of a real celebration. So I think where this post is going, I didn't actually really know where I was going with this when I started, but I think where this is going is that I'm leading myself to a place where I can let go a little more like that. That's something that I think I would benefit from. I think it would contribute to my happiness and my ability to just fall into joy. I think that would be a real boon, a real benefit. And holiday season is a great time to to practice that, because not only do we have individual holidays themselves, but generally the whole season has a feeling of celebration. It's this winter time, darkest time of the year, and yet there's this levity and this rising energy to the gathering of people. I think back to when I was young. It's interesting as we get older, because years start to be, they just aren't when you're 47 years old, a year doesn't feel as long as it used to. When you're 27 years old, a year doesn't feel as long as it used to when you were 5. When you're 5, a year is essentially an inestimable, giant, gargantuan amount of time. Annalise looking forward to being 6. And I know that that's going to happen like tomorrow, but she feels like it's going to happen a million years from now. Geological time is ticking for her on this year. So I think back to what it used to feel like to come together over the holidays as a kid, and just what a blast it was. What an upsurge of joy and playfulness. We usually would travel somewhere. A lot of times we would be coming back to the United States from Europe because it's where we were living. And there was this celebration is the only word. It's the only way I know how to put it. And so I think what I'm inviting myself into is a little bit of that innocence and a little bit of that openness that makes it possible to feel a real sense of celebration, a real liftoff. Because that's fun. that sounds like that's the life I want to live. Why not that? I think that's where I am today, folks. I think that's what I got. A sense of celebration. As we launch the holiday season, Black Friday, it's a perfect day to be embracing that, putting that out there for the next month. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful Black Friday. I'll see you soon.